Yeah, you know what it is, y'all. It's another episode of the Miller Experience Overtime. I'm your host, Caliber. We got the co-host Craig and Victor. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we got a special guest. I know you see her on Instagram. I know you guys saw her on the Breakfast Club. She's Robin Evans, owner of Chicks with Triggers LLC out of Greenville, South Carolina. How you doing, Miss Evans?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you for coming to the show today.
Thank you for
We're
having
very
me.
honored to have you. I've been watching you. My sister Dania Dozier been telling me a lot about you. I started
That's my
following you on
cousin.
Instagram. That's your cousin?
It
That's
is
my
my
little
cousin.
sister. So I guess we family too, right?
I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I want to claim you yet. We'll see.
All right. We'll see. But I've been following you on Instagram. I like what you got going on. It's very inspirational, especially to the African American women. You helping them out with their confidence from domestic violence, how to handle guns, weapons. I'm in law enforcement, so I know how important that is.
Right.
Let's start off. Just tell us about your company, Chicks with Triggers.
Chicks with Triggers is a self-defense company, of course, like you said, that gears women towards firearm protection. So I teach them how to pick out guns, how to buy guns, how to use guns, state laws, stuff like that. We do a hand-to-hand combat. We do knife training, like blade training, things like that. But we focus primarily on firearms. So I started it back in 2021, and to date, I've had over 6,000 students by now. I teach for South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia. So it did not start off primarily with domestic violence victims, but it kind of morphed into that. It just started off as a way for women to learn how to defend themselves, and then somehow it morphed into a domestic violence advocacy group.
Okay. Tell us about the origin of your company. What made you decide to do this?
So I've been in the shooting for a long time. My father is retired NYPD. He's had me with guns and knives and all types of violence my whole entire life. So I've always been the crazy friend that's with the violence, that's with the shits, right? So I've always been that crazy friend. And then in 2021, when COVID hit, when 2020, when COVID hit, I decided, like all the women, there was on the news about women getting kidnapped in Charlotte and women getting trafficked, and it became like a real major thing that was on the media. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna start teaching women how to shoot. I wonder if they're into that. And all of my friends, none of them knew how to use a gun. None of them knew how to defend themselves. They all said that the men in their lives knew how to shoot, but that comes out that was a lie too. And so I said, you know what? Well, I'm gonna teach y'all how to do it. And from the moment I started, women came out the woodworks. It has not slowed down one bit from the day that I announced that I was going to do this. So it seems to be a lane that nobody had created, and I came and created it for all the women around here.
Craig got a question? Craig got a question?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. There should be responsible training for women. Especially minority women, which just seems to be your focus, correct?
Yes.
When I look at it, I see the women with the handguns, but then I see you with a AR. What's the lesson there? What's the AR for?
The AR is for everything. I use the AR for my home defense. I do AR-15 classes. I think the AR gets a bad rep because of the media, and people don't understand, the media is trying to push people towards one way, depending on which media you're listening to, right? Everybody has an agenda. So yeah, I do teach AR-15 classes. I do teach that as a home defense mechanism, as the top home defense mechanism. I teach that. I teach regular handguns. I teach revolvers. I teach, semi-automatic pistols. I teach AR-15. So we go all around.
AR-15. And I have to ask, what is, assault rifle, correct?
No. That's what the media has taught you.
No.
But go ahead. That's what the media has taught you.
Oh, no. When I look up the
AR-15
rifle,
does the same exact thing that a 22 long rifle does. The AR-15 does the same thing that it just doesn't have that recoil. It doesn't have, what you think it is not what it is. It's not like it's an automatic weapon that I'm putting my finger on. It's going brrr, like Tony Montana.
it has the ability. It has the ability to do that, correct?
If you make it like that, which is illegal. If you make it like that, a Glock 9mm has the ability to do that. If you put a switch kit on it and make it illegal, anything has the ability to do that. But that's not what it's made for. That's not how it comes.
Okay, what is the AR made for?
I use it for home defense. That's what everybody uses it for. Some people use it for hunting. Some people use it for hunting. I use it for home defense. I can't speak what everybody else uses it for. I use it for, if you come into my house unwanted, it will be an AR-15 that I use.
And to know that an AR-15 pulverizes, correct? So if someone's hunting with it, it damages the meat beyond repair, correct?
So does a shotgun. People
I'm
use that
sorry.
all the time too.
She said, so does a shotgun. Let me ask you something, Robin.
Mm-hmm.
Doing your what's the challenges? Not only teaching women how to use a firearm, they never use a firearm, but women in color. You know, because in the Black community, having guns, we in the South, right? So we not really big into guns in the Black community like our counterparts are. You know what I mean?
Right. So I think that is a big problem, is that and the Black community used to really be into guns. If we look back at history, the Black community was always into guns. If you think about even your childhood, your grandfather, great-grandfather, they always had shotguns in the house or something in the house. And somewhere along the way, we got away from that because the media has made you believe that when white people have guns, right, that's them exercising their Second Amendment right. And when Black people have guns, that is suspicious. They shouldn't be doing that. And so that is where I'm trying to come in and let everybody know we have the same rights that they have. I'm not saying that we're out here to do damage with it or anything like that. I'm using it as, teaching women how to defend themselves, but getting the Black community over that mindset that having a gun is something bad. It's nothing bad. Having a gun is how you're going to defend your family. Having a gun is how you're going to save your life. So I think just getting in that mindset, but I think that I don't have as much of a hurdle as I thought I would with Black women coming into the gun community. Black women, they want to learn how to defend themselves. They want to learn how to defend their children. And now they understand that guns is how we're going to do that. We can't call the police. Most of the time, how long does it take y'all to show up? I have one woman right now who wants to learn how to use a gun, specifically because she went to the city to tell them about to try to get restraining orders and stuff, and they said she's out of their jurisdiction. Then she went to the sheriff's office and they said that she's out of their jurisdiction. So where does that leave us? Women want a way to try to defend themselves. So I think that the hurdle initially was trying to get Black people to understand that, hey, gun rights are for us too. But now everybody seems to be on the same page.
Have you ever trained any men? Do any men come to you for training also, or just specifically women?
It's rare that a man isn't in my class, to be honest with you. It's very rare that a man isn't in my class. Even if you look at my pages and stuff and you look at my classes, usually there's always at least one guy in there. So men come to me all the time. I train them as well. I have no type of discrimination against anybody. I train Black women, white women, Black men, white men. I've had Indian men come to me, all kinds of demographics. So I train whoever wants to be learn.
How do men shoot? Tell the truth. How they shoot?
Like shit. And that's okay. That's okay. Because those are the ones that are coming there to try to learn. It's the ones that don't want to take the class. It's the ones that don't want nobody to help them. It's the ones that don't, want to learn the laws. Those are the men that are the problem. Because at the end of the day, they don't know about these guns. They think that it's just inherently in them because they're a man, and that's where we have the dangerous situations coming on, where people hurt each other unintentionally because you don't actually know how to use this gun. So I'm always happy when a man comes to my class and says, you know what, I do need to learn the law. I do need to learn about this pistol that I'm carrying around, because having the gun is one thing, but learning how to use the gun and learning the laws of your state, that's a whole nother ballgame. Anybody, a toddler, can have a goddamn gun. We need to learn how to actually use this gun and how to stay out of jail, especially as Black people.
So how do you feel about the the Black communities? Obviously, you said we got away from the guns because you had the rifles, so forth and so on. What do you feel about the fact that the majority feel that the most guns that are in the Black community are illegal guns?
I mean, it's not completely untrue. It's not completely untrue. That's that's a fact. A lot of the guns in the gun community have come from places where they weren't supposed to come from. They're with people that weren't supposed to have them. So that's not untrue. But I also think that a lot of guns in the white community came from places like for people that's not supposed to have them. I think that everyone, like regardless of race, they're gonna find a loophole. If they really want a gun, they're gonna find a loophole to get one. But I do think that in the Black community, the people that don't have guns and the people that won't take the proper measures, they're the ones that's going to get jammed up because they are Black. They're not going to get the benefit of the doubt like our counterparts. They're not going to get the alternative programs, the probation, the counseling, the you went to rehab and all this other jazz. You're going to catch a felony and you're going to jail.
Okay, so I need you to educate me for a minute because I'm not a gun owner.
Okay.
But I'm a big believer that if you're going to own a gun, you need to get proper training and be able to use it properly and effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you talk about home defense,
mm-hmm.
and you talk about how the AR-15. I got what you said is the most effective.
Yes.
So I'm asking you to educate me now. What can an AR-15 do in the area of home defense that say a pistol cannot do?
Nothing. That's a personal preference.
No. You just said that the AR-15 is the most effective means of home defense.
Yes, because
that means others are not as effective. Okay,
yes,
so
because of the low recoil. Do you know what recoil means? It's the kickback. Okay. So because of the low recoil of the AR-15, it's like shooting a BB gun. There's no recoil at all. So because of the low recoil, because of the high capacity, and because of the length between the length of the whole AR-15 is long, it allows you to now see your sights better and have a better aim at your target than if you're shooting a 6-hour P365. It's a whole nother ballgame. You have less chance of unintentionally hurting someone than if you're shooting a smaller handgun.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What about that bullet that typically can override someone, go through someone on the AR, and you shooting it in the neighborhood? What are the chances that bullet going through someone's wall, going through someone, and harming someone else? Because
those are the type of bullets that you use. If you use self-defense bullets, they go inside of someone, they stop, and they expand inside of them. They do not keep going. So there's two different types of bullets. There's range bullets, and then there are self-defense bullets. There are two different categories. So if you use
the right type, me something here.
Yeah.
So if you use the right type of and this is the problem because people form these opinions when they're not educated on the subject. So if you use the right type of, then this is for handguns as well. Because if I put range bullets, full metal jacket bullets in my 9mm gun, right, that everybody thinks is okay, and I shoot someone and I put 10 people in a line, it's going through all 10 of them until it has a force big enough to stop it. But if I use self-defense bullets, which you are supposed to use, they're called hollow points. And if you use hollow points, it goes inside of that one person, it stops, and it expands inside of them. That is the beauty of hollow points. So that's why cops use hollow points. They don't use full metal jacket. They use hollow points because you don't want to play the risk of shooting and it goes through other places and then you hit innocent people that you didn't intend to do that to.
So what's the purpose of making a full metal jacket? Military, correct?
To range with and practice.
Why would you practice with a bullet that you said?
Why would you not? Why would you own a gun and not practice?
No, why would you practice with something that you're not going to actually use in real life?
Okay, you guys are really not going on this. So you do not shoot hollow points inside of a range. They're too expensive. Right? Okay. So in order to learn your gun, in order to learn how to load, learn how to unload, learn malfunctions, learn how to fix it if it jams, you need to be able to do stuff like that. You don't use full metal jackets for that, but you don't use hollow points for that. You use full metal jackets. That's what we use in the ranges. Full metal hollow points are used for self-defense ammo. That is all it's used for. So even when police go to the training academy and they go to the shooting range and they have to qualify, they're not qualifying with hollow points, they're qualifying with full metal jacket.
And that's because of the expense of a full metal jacket versus a hollow point?
Yes, there's no point of you using your hollow points in the range. That doesn't get like you shoot paper with full metal jacket. You shoot people with hollow points.
Hey Robin, do you train your clients with oh, go ahead, Craig. Go ahead.
No, so these assailants who are going into schools and shooting up schools, Are they using Full Metal Jacket or hollow point?
I don't know. My assume would be Full Metal Jacket. My assume would be hollow points. But that depends on the person. Some people don't even, like you didn't know, some people don't even know that there's a difference. So I don't know what everybody's using.
Okay. It's hard for me to believe that they were using hollow points when they're saying the bullets pulverized people, that they had to use DNA in order to recognize them. So it's hard to me to believe that they're using hollow points.
That doesn't mean that it went through. That doesn't mean that it went through and hit someone else. I think that's what you are lacking to understand. It doesn't mean that it went through and hit someone else. It means that just like a shotgun, right? If I shoot you with a shotgun, there's going to be a massive hole there that they might have to use DNA to try to figure it out. But that doesn't mean that it went through and it hit other people unintentionally.
Well, that's not what he said, though. He didn't say the bullet went through when he was talking about the mass shooters.
But he's talking about hollow points, right?
Yes.
Hollow points stay in a person. So that's what that is what he's talking about.
I was saying that the bullets pulverized people. So, in other words, were they using hollow points or Full Metal Jacket? Because you said that the Full Metal Jacket is the one that does the most damage, correct?
No, hollow points do the most damage.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you this, Robin. Do you train your clients with all the weapons, like different kind of weapons, with every type of weapon, or there's a specific type of weapon you train your clients with?
I train my clients with whatever weapon works best for them. I don't pick out their weapon. I train them with whatever works best for them. So if they want a gun, then I help them find the best gun for them. If they want a knife, then we teach them how to use a knife. So it's whatever weapon they feel comfortable with. It can't be what I feel comfortable with. I make them go through the process, and whatever they're comfortable with, that's what they train with.
So that's your trial before you buy process?
Yeah, that's my try before you buy, because guns are non-refundable, and guns are not a one hand fits all type of thing. So I let them go through a whole process where they try out about 10 of the most common concealed carry guns, and we go through each and every process, and then they figure out which one works best for them. So that way, when they're ready to go buy something, now they know exactly what they're looking for. Because unfortunately, the people behind the counters in the range, they're going to tell them what they think is best versus what's actually best for the client. And a lot of the times they're making full commission off of this. So they're just trying to make a sale. They don't care if it works for you or not. They're just trying to make a sale. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So when you got a new client coming, they register to for you to train them. Tell us about this vibe check. Tell us about the vibe check.
Yeah.
What you need to know.
So the vibe check is real. So the vibe check is something that I instilled in my business to make sure that everyone is a good fit for the classes that I'm offering. So no one's allowed to sign up online. No one's allowed to just show up. You have to go through me. We got to talk about why you want a gun. Is there something going on in your life? Do you have any type of trauma that I need to know about? Have you ever been charged with anything I need to know about? What is going on that you need this gun right now? And some people, like, it is something going on. Some people it is because, restraining orders haven't been followed the way they were supposed to. Some people it is because of things that, have happened in the past. And some women are just because they just want to learn how to use a gun, like the world that we're in right now. But absolutely no one is allowed to show up to my business or to my classes without having had that conversation with me, because I need to know everything about what brought you here to me today.
Have you ever had to turn a lot of people away because of that? Because that was going to be my next question.
Yes, I turn people away every single week.
Mm-hmm.
What you think about the
questionnaire or whatever have you? Because some people do lie. We know this.
Mm-hmm.
But is it a vibe you get?
It is a vibe I get. And I do a deep dive in their social media. I go through your LinkedIn. I go through your mama's page. I go through everything to figure out who are you as a person. Because again, this is serious. This is not a toy. This is not a game. Like, we're talking about guns. And so if I'm gonna train you on how to use a gun, I need to know that you are competent enough to handle what I'm about to give you.
And you, after you train them, you license them, correct? Or you send it up to the state board that, hey, they certified in this. Okay.
Yeah, so I like do the qualifications, and then the state actually has to do the background checks. The FBI does background checks, everything like that. They run their fingerprints, but I qualify them. I teach them the laws and everything like that. So that's what makes my class different from all the other gun classes around here, is that a lot of them are just trying to fill a seat. That is the name of the game. They are trying to fill a seat so they can get paid, and that's not what Chicks with Triggers is. So do I turn people away? Every single day, and I have no no hesitation about doing it either. If I feel like you're not a good fit, then you can go to any other gun class, but you can't come here.
So let me walk me through. Let's say just walk me through. Say I'm a client, never shot a gun in my life. Mm-hmm. And me, when I'm on a gun range, I see some of these instructors. You can tell some people that never hold a gun in their life, and some of these instructors they make these guys and girls lose their confidence. What's your vibe like if you see somebody struggling shooting? How will you boost their confidence up?
So I meet you where you are, and I think that's something that a lot of these so-called instructors don't do. I meet people where they are. So if you've never shot before, there's no way I'm going to send you up here and give you, this Glock 19 9mm and tell you, okay, now we're gonna start shooting. I start everybody at the bottom. So we start at a 22 caliber, which is as low as we can possibly go. And I start them there. Another thing that I do is I don't shoot with the public. So I reserve the range. So that way we're the only ones in here shooting. We ain't got to worry about all these other sounds. We don't have to worry about the rifles going off. We don't have to worry about all this other stuff because people already have a trauma and a fear about going into a range in the first place. So I make it as quiet as possible. So it's just me and them, and we're working on it. Even in my classes that are filled with 30 people, everyone shoots one at a time with me. So you just wait your turn and you come up and you shoot with me, and we do it one by one. I stand here with you. I never leave you, and I walk you through the whole entire process. And I have had people break down in tears. I've had people had trauma come back saying, hearing the bullet go off reminded them of when their father shot their mother to death, shot their mother and all this other stuff. And so we have these type of experiences, but I have never, ever had someone come and say, I wish I wouldn't have done it. It's always I'm glad I conquered that. Now what's the next step? So you got to meet people where they are. And a lot of instructors don't do that. They feel like you should already be at a certain level. And that's not true.
Yeah, I have sisters who I'm going to, obviously give them your contact information because I think like one or two talked about receiving a handgun. And I told them it's best to get training. Now, that being said, I hear about, they're talking about giving teachers guns in schools. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think that should happen. I don't think that I think teachers for one don't even get paid a damn much to be having guns in school. Like that's the first thing. You don't even pay them for shit now. So no, they shouldn't have to be teaching math and be the damn Avengers at the same time. Like that should not be a thing. So I don't agree with that. But the state of South Carolina, I don't give a damn what I agree with. But I don't agree with that. But I think that I've spoken on it on my social media before. All these veterans that are out here that have come back and they have they're trying to find their way and they're trying to figure out where their life is going next. They have already received this training. They already know how to assess targets and all this other stuff, assess threats. They should be the ones. The government has enough money to hire veterans to be security for schools, right? They have enough money to do that. They have proven that with all the money that they've given overseas and all this other stuff. They have enough money to do that. They just don't care enough to do that. And so if it were me, that's the process that it would be. Have a security team, right? Hire these veterans that are homeless, that are looking for housing, that have no money, that the government used and spit out and threw them away. Bring them back and let them be security for the schools. My mother is a retired teacher. I can't possibly see her in here trying to deal with, she taught special ed. I can't see her dealing with special education students and then still having a gun and being able to get to it in case a threat comes. I don't agree with that. I never will.
I just believe that their responsibility is educating.
Yeah.
I think that you have to be a certain type of person to be able to handle a situation like that. I believe that you're given a gun, I think the shooting would be indiscriminately. Not to hurt, to harm someone. I just think that they're not prepared for something like that. Granted, nobody can say that they're truly prepared, but training helps.
Yeah.
And having that mindset.
Granted, they might have one badass kid in the class.
Taking care of children.
Yeah.
They might have one badass kid in the class.
Would you do that?
And they want to take out for the longest. Hey, Robin, let me ask you 2 more questions. What's your thoughts on the South Carolina open carry?
So, do you mean constitutional carry?
Yeah.
Because we've had open carry for a while now, but now we have constitutional carry, so that's the new one. My thoughts on that are, we've never needed a permit in the state of South Carolina. Never, ever in history. You've never needed a permit to have a gun. If you want to go buy 15 guns, then that's what it is. You never needed a permit to sell a gun. So nothing has really changed, in my opinion, except for the fact that they told people, well, hey, you don't have to take a class if you don't want to take a class, if you want to go get a gun. But that still didn't change, right? They just put it out there to the public and said, hey, you don't have to do this. I think the people that it's going to hurt are Black people. They're the ones that's not, because see, white people already know the laws. White people already know how to use guns. They've been learning how to use guns since they learned how to walk. So it's going to hurt the Black people. Black people are going to be the ones that end up in prison with gun charges and all this other stuff. But those are the same people that also feel like, okay, well, I don't have to do it, so I'm not going to spend the extra time and money to do it, right? So I think that it's going to hurt more than it helps. But I also think that it hasn't changed. Like it hasn't changed what South Carolina has been. I think that now it's just more out there. Now they say 18-year-olds can have guns. I think that's a mistake, because have you met 18-year-olds? They're really like 15-year-olds. So I think that's a mistake. And now you said they can have a gun without even looking at a PowerPoint presentation. So I think that has been a big thing. I know for the Rangers around here, they have seen their classes like completely demolished. Like they're non-existent. They can't even get, 6 people in the class anymore in a CWP class. My demographic is completely different. This weekend alone, coming up, I have 60 people this weekend. So my demographic is different because I go towards the women want to learn. The women, before they even buy a gun, they want to learn about the guns. They want to learn the laws. They want to learn stuff like that. So I push that on our community because at the end of the day, again, the Blacks are going to be the ones that get caught up in the system. That's what it's made for. And a lot of people don't even know that when they made the gun laws looser, they made the penalties harsher, right? And so there's even an amendment inside of the bill that nobody read, right? Because nobody does their due diligence. But if you sit down and read the actual bill that the governor signed, it says that if you have to use your gun in self-defense and you did not go get a concealed weapons permit, that is an additional charge that you will face, and you will face more time in prison than someone who did have a concealed weapons permit, right? But people don't know that because the government didn't tell you that part. The state of South Carolina didn't tell you that. They told you, oh, well, it's your constitutional right, go get a gun. And at the end of the day, people are saying, well, now I don't need a permit. You still need a permit to cross state lines. You still need a permit to travel with your gun and go on a plane. You still need a permit to do all of this stuff. But again, they didn't tell people that. So people are in the dark, and Black people are the ones that's going to get jammed up. I promise you it's going to be Black people.
Last question for me, Robin.
I have one more question.
Off guns. What's your thoughts on the Diddy situation?
Diddy is the devil. I've been saying that on my social media since I started. Diddy is the devil. I hope he burns in hell. Actually, like I want worse than hell. I want him to go to jail, because if R. Kelly's in jail, then why the hell ain't Diddy? So like Diddy is full of shit. That's what he is. Okay, he's full of shit, and he needs to be
not Brother Love.
Brother Love. He needs to be dealt with. And I think that he goes after these women who, don't have a strong family background, who don't have strong men in their lives, right? Because let me tell you something. My daddy, my daddy,
that could have been my daughter.
Child, we wouldn't even be having this. There wouldn't be is he going to get prosecuted, because he would be dead.
Hey, check this out, Robin. Check this out, Robin. What Biggie say? It's going to be a lot of slow singing and flower bringing.
Okay, because he needs to be dealt with. But I say, like, if R. Kelly is in jail, because he's doing way worse stuff than R. Kelly. So if R. Kelly's in jail, ain't no way Puff Daddy ain't in jail. But I think that Puff Daddy also, I think that he's going to finagle his way somehow. Whether it's turning on other people and making deals or whatever the case may be, because that's how he's gotten along his whole entire life. It's always been people around him who go to prison, people around him who end up dead. And meanwhile, he is thriving because he made some type of deal with the goddamn devil. And I think now, like, all the roosters are coming home right now, but I don't know that. I'm interested to see what happens, because I do think that he's going to make a deal and turn on other people.
Robert, you didn't hold anything back, did you?
No, that's
why I went on the show,
man. Well, I got one more question for you. One more question for me, and just thank you for coming onto the show and educating me. And because I'm old enough to realize that especially on guns, a lot of times we get our opinions from Hollywood. and don't understand that that's Hollywood. It can have little to no resemblance to real life. So I was excited to have you on here. Thank you. I'm gonna ask you a question. Maybe or maybe not. You know enough about this to answer it, and if you don't, it's okay. We now have 3D printed guns where you can like print a gun 3Ds. Now the technology is not the guns that they make. There's still issues with reliability and functionality, but that technology is eventually going to improve to where you're going to be able to just basically print up a gun in your office of any kind. And I don't know, do you have any views on that? If you don't know enough about it, to have an opinion about it, that's okay.
I don't know enough about it I don't know enough about it, but I still got an opinion. I think it's another loophole. I think it's another loophole of people are going to do what they want to do, right? And people, if they want to access guns, they're going to find a way. That is a prime example of, okay, well, they can't get a gun here. Well, then they found another way to do it. And I think that is something that we all have to come to terms with. When people say ban guns, then you have people over here making them on a printer. There's never going to be a ban of guns. And I think
they're called ghost guns, by the way.
Huh?
I say they call ghost guns.
Yeah,
which I think kind of makes the whole gun control thing obsolete now.
It's ridiculous because it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Even Canada tried to ban guns, and they still got shootings going on every doggone day. So it's never going to happen because if they want a gun, they're going to find a way to get it.
Here's my thing, and I read on the ghost guns. The gentleman who initially did it, everyone was against it. The minute he obviously contacted NRA and they got them involved, and NRA initially was against it, and then obviously there was some financials, and they said, "Oh yeah, we're for it."
Well, that's the way the world works. The money rules the world. Money, it don't matter what you could be against, 2.5-legged dogs, and you got enough money. Somebody's gonna be like, you know what? I think that was a great idea. I think they're beneficial to society. And I think that's just the way it works. As far as the NRA is going to put money into pockets, that they want to push their agenda through. And I think that's what a lot of people need to understand, especially it's like media, like Vic, you mentioned, everything that you get is from Hollywood and stuff like that. A lot of people don't know the in and outs of this. They take what they hear and then they go off of that instead of learning what's actually going on. And I want a lot of people to understand that, like I previously said, different networks push different agendas, right? So you have Fox News over here, and they're pushing their agenda that, hey, there's so much crime and and you need a gun, and they're trying to take your guns, and they're trying to take your liberties, and blah, 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 right? And they're getting their demographic all riled up. Well, then over here, you got CNN saying, oh, they coming to kill the blacks and the KK and the white supremacy and and they getting the blacks all riled up and they getting them all scared, right? And that's the way that it works. But I said this on my social media, and I will say it to y'all. When you think about guns, don't think about the extremists. Don't think about the two different extremes. Think about the normal person in the middle. There's people just like me, just like you, just like your sisters, who now want to learn how to defend themselves because that's the world that we're living in. We have no ill intentions. We don't wake up every day and say, you know what, today I hope I shoot someone. Like, nobody says that. Well, nobody of sane mind says that. Nobody in my vibe check says that. But I want y'all to remember those people, because the media programs y'all's minds to think so many things. Just like I had a lady the other day with the AR-15, and when she shot it, she literally said, oh, that's it. Like, she didn't even move, because that's the media made her think, though, that she was going to go flying into the damn wall, because that's how powerful it was supposed to be. She didn't even move. It barely twitched her arm. And she literally turned around and said, oh, that's it. And that was to get her past that fear of what the media had implanted in her head. And that goes for anything, not just guns. That goes for anything that's going on in life. You have to take the media with a grain of salt, because they have an agenda. And they want to get everyone on their side, and the other side is trying to turn everyone on their side. So you have to take everything with a grain of salt. That's why I think the education of coming and actually doing it yourself, actually sitting in the class, actually seeing what's it about, that's why that is so important, because then you can make your own decisions instead of what the media told you to think.
Facts. Well, Robin, hey, I love your vibe. That's why I wanted to come on the show. I don't know if you pay attention, but I promote the hell out of you on Instagram, man. But I appreciate you coming on the show. Tell the people how to get in contact with you, your social media sites. If they want to get a lesson, tell them how to get in contact with you.
Okay, my social media, everything is Chicks with Triggers. Facebook bans me a lot because of all the guns. They always say I'm inciting community violence when I'm not.
Facebook for old people anyway, so.
Facebook is for families. So I'm on TikTok. They ban me a lot too, though. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. They let me live my best life. So if you had to contact me, it's through Instagram. And then my website is chickswithtriggers.com. Again, if anybody is interested in the class, you can go on there and fill out an inquiry, but it will not let you book an actual class until we have a conversation.
Well, Robin, I really appreciate you. You're doing an amazing job. Keep it up. I'm very proud of you, sister.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Greg, come join a class. I mean, Craig, come join a class.
My sisters are going to join you now.
No. You. Come join a class so you can see what it's really
about. So we family now?
I don't know. I gotta think about it.
We all family. We all family.
I gotta think. I think that everybody should take a gun class to see what it really is. And you'll see that it's not what you think it is. But it is necessary. They're all necessary.
That's
understood.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true.
That's true. Sure. Well, thank you, Queen, for coming on.
Appreciate it.
Thank y'all so much for having me.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Thank y'all. Bye.
All right.
All right.